you are anxious. Even when things look fine on the surface, inside you feel a churn of unease. It's not the kind of fear that startles you in an instant, but a quiet, persistent dread that lives with you day to day. Even when there's no obvious reason to worry, it feels like some invisible monster in your mind is always waiting for you to drop your guard, whatever form your anxiety takes. Maybe it's social anxiety that sends your heart pounding whenever you meet new people. Or perhaps just a vague dread that comes and goes without a clear name. It finds a way into every corner of your life. And guess what? You're far from alone in this. Truth is, nearly everyone carries hidden anxieties behind their calm facades. Feeling anxious doesn't mean you're broken or weak. It simply means you're human. Anxiety is woven into us by evolution. It had its purpose once, to keep our ancestors alert to danger. Those who stayed anxious about rustles in the bushes or unknown paths were often the ones who survived. But today, there are no saber-toothed tigers lurking in the grocery store or office hallway. Yet that ancient alarm still fires off for job interviews, first dates, or a looming deadline, as if they were mortal threats. Anxiety lives in the land of what if. Your imagination takes a tiny worry and runs wild with it, building up one worst-case scenario after another. You can break into a sweat over disasters that exist only in your head, and feel real pain over things that haven't happened. Seneca put it best: we suffer more in imagination than in reality. How do we usually cope with this constant, quiet terror? By trying to outrun it or hide from it. We distract ourselves, scrolling through feeds or keeping insanely busy, hoping our worries won't catch up. We pretend we're okay, because maybe we grew up hearing, "Relax, stop worrying," and we learn to stuff our anxiety down deep. We stick to what's familiar and safe, telling ourselves if we don't rock the boat amidst, maybe the monsters in our mind will stay asleep. But that strategy tends to backfire. Every anxious thought you avoid or shove away doesn't actually leave you. It just lurks in the dark, gathering strength. It's like trying to ignore a monster under your bed. The less you look at it, the larger and more menacing it seems. Each worry you refuse to face doesn't vanish. It breeds new worries in that darkness. The monsters of the mind thrive on avoidance, and every time you run from what makes you anxious, you're teaching your brain something unintentional: that you couldn't handle it. You reinforce the idea that the only safe move is to escape. So the next time, the anxiety comes back even stronger, even more convinced that you can't cope. Bit by bit, if you keep running, your life starts to shrink. The space where you feel comfortable gets smaller and smaller, until that comfort zone isn't comfortable at all. It's a cage. And the anxiety you carry doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It finds other ways to show itself. Maybe you feel it as a tight knot in your stomach that never loosens, or a tension in your shoulders that keeps returning. It might come out as snapping at someone you love for no obvious reason, or as constant fatigue that rest doesn't seem to fix. Living with a steady undercurrent of anxiety gnawing at you day and night is exhausting. For a moment, choosing the safe route, avoiding the trigger, staying in your comfort zone, can feel like sweet relief. In that moment, you think, "Phew, I dodged it. I'm safe." It's almost like you tricked the anxiety, outsmarted danger. But have you ever stopped to wonder what that safety is costing you? Each time you avoid something you truly want or need to do because of anxiety, it's like adding another brick in the wall between you and the life you yearn for. brick by brick, avoidance builds up a barrier. Over the years, that wall can grow so high that you can barely glimpse the opportunities and joys on the other side. What started out as protecting yourself ends up imprisoning yourself. Sure, staying in your safe zone has probably spared you some pain. Maybe backing out of a few social events did save you from some awkward moments. Maybe declining a risk or two kept you from possible failure. But how much of your life are you sacrificing to avoid feeling anxious? Anxiety was meant to be a brief signal, a burst of alarm in a moment of true danger, not a permanent guiding force. It was never supposed to be calling all the shots. When anxiety takes over and becomes your constant guide, it stops protecting you and starts robbing you. Instead of keeping you safe, it steals little pieces of life from you, day after day. A life run by anxiety is a life half-lived. It's no wonder so many myths and teachings talk about facing inner demons or finding courage. In every hero story, the hero must face the monster to transform. Wise voices throughout history have warned that living in constant fear and worry will shrink your existence down to a fraction of what it could be. And often, the monster you dread isn't even real. It's an illusion your mind conjured up. Anxiety loves the dark. It grows stronger in the unknown, in the moments when you refuse to look at it directly. The more you look away, the more it can distort itself into something huge and horrible. But if you shine a light on it, really examining what you're so afraid of, you'll often find it's far less powerful than it pretended to be. Understanding your anxiety makes it shrink down to a size that no longer towers over you. Let's turn the focus directly on you now. It's easy to acknowledge that everyone experiences anxiety, but much harder to catch how your own anxiety might be quietly driving your actions. Take a moment to ask yourself, is anxiety, in one form or another, behind some of the choices you make each day? Have you ever bailed on plans with friends because you suddenly felt too anxious to go, even though part of you wanted to? Or kept silent about something important because you were worried about being judged or sparking conflict? We all have moments like these. This isn't about blaming yourself or feeling ashamed. It's about noticing that in those moments, anxiety was steering the wheel. And recognizing that is empowering. Because what you can see, you can change. You're not weak or broken for feeling this way. You're human. Now that you're seeing the pattern, you can start to break free. Once you spot where anxiety is calling the shots, you can begin to loosen its grip on you. By dragging those anxious feelings out of the dark and into the open, you've already started to rob them of some power. Name the fear when you feel it. Say, "This is my anxiety talking." By acknowledging it, you stop it from silently controlling you from the shadows. Some anxieties run so deep that you hardly even notice them anymore. They're just part of the background noise of your mind. They hide behind habits and, "This is just how I am." Psychologists sometimes talk about a shadow self, the parts of us we push away or don't want to face. A lot of your anxiety lives in that shadow, quietly influencing you behind the scenes. Maybe deep down you carry a belief like, "If I don't worry about everything, I'll be caught off guard." Or, "If things change, I won't be able to handle it." It's not like you walk around chanting these phrases, but they tug at you underneath the surface. That subtle belief can make you avoid taking chances or cling to routines. Without you ever realizing, it's your anxiety whispering those instructions. Anxiety is a master of disguise. It can wear the mask of prudence or the voice of reason. Maybe you delay starting something important, telling yourself you're just waiting for the right moment, when really you're afraid it won't be perfect. Or you force a smile and say, "I'm fine," when you're not. Because the idea of showing vulnerability makes you anxious. Each of these little behaviors might seem harmless on its own, but together, they sketch an outline of your life. And that outline is smaller and more constricted than it would be if anxiety wasn't constantly whispering in your ear. Added up, all those small avoidances and white lies box you into a life that feels safer, but also much smaller than the life you truly want. Think about some of the roads not taken in your life and the explanations you gave yourself. You might have left a relationship when it got tough, saying it just wasn't meant to be, when in truth you were afraid of getting hurt. Or maybe you turned down a promising opportunity, a new job or a move, insisting the timing wasn't right, when really the unpredictability made you too anxious. We are experts at coming up with good reasons to justify our fears. It's far easier to say, "I'm too busy right now," or "It's not really my thing," than to say, "I'm afraid of failing," or "I'm afraid of change." So we cloak our anxiety in these polite excuses. But if you look underneath those excuses, you'll often find that anxiety was the puppeteer all along, pulling the strings while you told yourself a comforting story. In fact, most of us have a whole list of excuses ready to go at any moment. "I'll do it later when I'm prepared. I just have too much on my plate. Now's not the right time. What if I can't handle it?" They sound perfectly reasonable, and they conveniently cover up the fear underneath. These excuses act like a shield, protecting you from discomfort and protecting your pride. They make it feel like you're making the logical choice, the mature decision. But peel that shield away, and often you'll find your anxiety crouching behind it, whispering those excuses to keep you within its comfort zone. And each time you give in to them, your anxiety grows a little stronger. Remember, anxiety is clever. It rarely walks up and announces itself. It prefers you to think that its ideas are your own prudent thoughts. It says, "Let's not do that. It's too risky." Or, "Better to stay where we know what to expect." And it sounds like common sense. It makes you think you're just being careful and realistic, when in fact you're being held hostage by fear. But if you take a close look at those careful thoughts, you begin to recognize them for what they are. There's a big difference between wise caution and anxious avoidance. Wisdom might say, "Be prepared and then go forward," whereas anxiety says, "Never go at all, it's too dangerous." True wisdom helps you live your life more fully. Anxiety disguised as wisdom only keeps you hiding from life. You might think all your worrying has kept you safe. If you never take the leap, you can't fall. Right? But is that really protecting you, or just keeping you small? Every time you shrink back from something you care about, you chip away at your own confidence, teaching yourself that you're not capable. And that hurts you far more in the long run. Staying safe in this way doesn't spare you from pain. It just inflicts a different kind of pain. It's the pain of regret, of stagnation. It's like locking yourself in a tiny room because you're afraid of the storm outside. The storm passes and the sky clears, but you're still inside. You missed it all. Life outside moved on, and your world stayed small and gray while you hid. After living under anxiety's thumb for so long, it's easy to start believing, "This is just who I am. I'm just an anxious person." You might feel like anxiety is in your DNA, that you were born worrying. But that's not the whole story of who you are. That's the story anxiety has been telling you about yourself. It's a role you've learned to play, not your fundamental identity. And the longer you've played that role, the more it can feel like the truth. Over time, anxiety's constant presence teaches you to fear more and more things. Your comfort zone shrinks down. Things you once did easily now set your nerves on edge. You begin saying no to invitations and avoiding anything unfamiliar. Not because you want to, but because it feels safer. You say no to yourself so often that you don't even realize it. It just feels normal. But let's be clear, this is your life we're talking about, and it's ticking by. Do you really want to spend it ruled by these mind monsters? It might be uncomfortable to confront this, but take an honest look at how much power anxiety has had over you. Acknowledge that this constant gnawing worry has been holding you back from the life you want to live. Admitting this to yourself isn't easy. It hurts to realize how many chances you've let slip by, how many times you surrendered to anxiety. It stings. But in that sting is a kind of awakening. It's like suddenly noticing the chains that have been wrapped around you. You can't break free of something if you refuse to see it. Recognizing how your anxiety has been chaining you up is the first step toward loosening its hold. You might have thought your worrying was like armor protecting you from life's blows. But now you see that armor has become a burden, weighing you down far more than it ever protected you. All this time, anxiety wasn't shielding you. It was shackling you. When you cater to your anxiety's every demand, you end up betraying yourself. Think of all the parts of you that got left behind because anxiety didn't approve. The bold artist in you who never painted that canvas. The aspiring traveler in you who kept postponing the journey. The lover in you who never fully opened their heart. All suffocated under the weight of, oh, days, what if something goes wrong? All that potential was traded away for a false sense of security. Pause and consider what anxiety has stolen from you over the years. Perhaps it's friendships that never formed, or career moves you never made because you doubted yourself. Maybe it's simple joys, like dancing freely or singing aloud, that you avoided for fear of looking foolish. Think of the peaceful nights of sleep you lost, staring at the ceiling as your mind conjured worst-case scenarios. All of those moments were taken by anxiety. Moments you can't get back. And consider not just what you've lost, but what's been hiding. There are parts of you, bright, beautiful parts, that anxiety forced into the shadows. Your playful side that loves to joke. Your adventurous side that wants to explore. Your passionate side that yearns to chase big dreams. Anxiety told them, it's not safe out here. And so they went quiet. They've been waiting, smothered under worry and doubt, for you to set them free. Every time you gave into anxiety, you were essentially telling those parts of yourself, not now. It's not safe. Piece by piece, you placed your authentic self on hold to appease your fears. You sacrificed bits of joy and growth at anxiety's altar just to feel a little more comfortable in that moment. Think about that price. Was it really worth what you lost? Anxiety convinced you that a smaller life was a safer life. It wrapped you in a bubble where nothing unexpected happens. Each day just like the last. But that bubble also sealed out the fresh air of new experiences. Stay in it long enough, and you forget what it's like outside. That constant worry becomes background noise you think is normal. You go through your day never truly relaxed, always a little on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So what happens if you step out? The thought of living without that constant guard up, without your anxiety monitoring every moment, might feel terrifying. Even imagining life free of anxiety can make you anxious. It's been your companion for so long that, as much as you hate it, it's familiar. Letting it go means you feel exposed, and your heart pounds at the thought. You know it won't just fade quietly. It will likely flare up and try to pull you back the moment you try. Deciding not to let anxiety run the show means facing all those things you've been avoiding. It's stepping out into the open where life is unpredictable, without that shield of worry in front of you. Of course, it feels scary. Your legs may tremble on that first step, and your mind will scream for you to get back to safety. And your anxiety will fight hard to pull you back inside the walls. It will tell you anything to make you turn around. And out there beyond those walls, yes, anything can happen. There's the possibility of failure or disappointment, but there's also the possibility of joy, success, love, adventure, all the things your anxiety has kept you from. You might stumble, but you also might soar. The unknown that frightens you is exactly where your greatest opportunities are. It's both scary and exhilarating. That's life. Venturing even a little into that unknown is the only way to escape the prison that anxiety built. Staying in your bubble might feel safe, but it's suffocating. It's not truly living, it's just existing. Hiding from life won't protect you from bad things. It will only keep you from the good things. It won't make your life longer, it will just make it duller. So I'm asking you now to identify one thing that your anxiety has been keeping you from. Something you really want or need to do, but always shy away from because of that nervous voice in your head. Name it. Is it reaching out to someone you care about but lost touch with? Or starting that project you've dreamed about, but keep putting off because you're afraid to fail or face the unknown? Pick one thing that matters to you that anxiety has been saying no to. Now, see if you can take one tiny step toward that thing today. You don't have to dive in head first. Just dip your toe in the water. If your anxiety has been stopping you from speaking up, maybe express one small opinion or feeling to someone you trust. If it's been keeping you from trying something new, take one small step. Send that email, write a single page, lace up your shoes. Any small action that nudges against that wall. Do it to show yourself that you can. You'll probably feel a rush of anxiety when you do this. Your heart might thump, your palms might sweat, your voice might waver. That's all right. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward with fear alongside you. Feeling anxious doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Often it means you're doing something new, something that matters to you. Along with taking action, try occasionally just sitting with your anxiety sometimes. When that familiar wave of anxiety rises, pause. Notice what the anxiety feels like in your body. Instead of thinking, "Oh no, here it comes," gently ask your anxiety what it's trying to tell you. Maybe it's trying to protect you from pain or warning you out of habit. If you listen calmly, you'll often find the monster isn't as huge as it seems. Maybe it's just a frightened part of you that needs understanding. When you bring your anxiety into the light like this, by facing it or examining it, you start taking away its mystery. It's not a shapeless terror in the dark anymore. It's something specific you can understand. You realize those physical sensations are just your body trying to protect you. And those scary what-if thoughts are just thoughts, not destiny. With this understanding, anxiety loses some of its power over you. You see it for what it is. A part of you, not the whole of you, and certainly not an all-powerful monster. And what you can see clearly, you can handle. Will you ever be completely rid of anxiety? Probably not, and that's okay. The goal isn't to never feel anxious. It's to not let anxiety run your life. The discomfort of facing your anxiety is temporary, but the pain of always running from it can last a lifetime. Living under the constant tyranny of these mind monsters isn't really living at all. So when your anxiety comes, don't run and don't fight it blindly. Acknowledge it. I see you. But remind yourself that it doesn't get to decide what you do. Take a breath, feel your fear, and move forward anyway. Step out of the shadows of your mind and into the light of your life. The next step, and the rest of your story, belongs to you.